been doing push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Thursday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you here from the brand new studios here in the headquarters of Ysn in East Palestine. Turf is down. The new stage is set. Well, some of them are set. We're still working on the actual Power Hour set. So I'm borrowing the Running Point set and the backdrop here behind me for the brick by brick wall. We got the couch, we got the chair over there. We're ready to go from that part, but we got the backdrop coming in still to the right of me here, where we will be set up for Power Hour each and every day. And Mike Ackleson's stage is set for his audible call and a lot of stuff in between. So we're excited. Things are coming along a little bit slower than we anticipated, but obviously from our standpoint, we have things that we have to do, such as get to games, doing some spring sports, doing some track, doing some softball, some baseball, some tennis. And that's way more important than getting studios set up for a bunch of talking heads like us. So we're excited to be back out of my chair, which means a lot because that means that I can kind of have fun here. I'm not necessarily, I don't have the three screen setup where I'm multitasking while we're doing a show. So it's good to be able to pay attention to you and be with you here on this Thursday, where as we do always, we will start with, of course, this day in sports history. Hit it. So being that today is a day that we celebrate multiple aspects of sports, one of them being opening day, which we'll talk a little bit about. We'll talk about my beloved Pirates. We'll talk about the Guardians, where I think they're going to end up towards the end of the show. But it's also the Masters, and there's a lot of people watching the Masters right now. Obviously, Tiger Woods involved. Jason Kokrak yesterday on the par 3 challenge hit a hole-in-one. So our Warren JFK representative is holding it down in Augusta. But on this day in sports history, in 1946, the 10th U.S. Masters tournament, Augusta National Golf Course, of course, American Herman Kaiser wins his only major title, one stroke ahead of the tour money leader, Ben Hogan. His first Masters in 4 years because of it was the first Masters in 4 years because of World War II. So obviously with all that's going on in the world, we sports fans pause momentarily with all the other shenanigans going on across the country, the gas prices, the stuff in Ukraine and Russia and all that they're doing. And we pay attention to what has been near and dear to our hearts for so many years, many years, nearly a century of golf in Augusta, and it's still one of my favorite tournaments to watch. I think everybody's favorite tournament to watch year in, year out, whether Tiger's there or not. Tiger just makes it a little more special. And obviously, if you were able to see the practice rounds and see Tiger and the crowds that he still draws when he's not even sure he's playing in the tournament yet, there's no doubt in my mind, and we've talked about this a numerous amount of times on the show, Tiger changed the game of golf for so many. It doesn't matter your heritage, doesn't matter the color of your skin, it doesn't matter if you like golf or not. when Tiger Woods is on, you're watching. He's a cultural difference maker. Naturally, he changed the game of golf. He changed the world of sports. Everybody in 1997 decided that they were going to pick up a club from that moment on. I know I was one of them. Had nothing and wanted nothing to do with the game of golf before Tiger Woods came around. He made golf cool. He made it fun. He made it exciting. He before that it was truly gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. I think he engaged women in golf as well, because dads wanted their kids, no matter who they were or what parts they had, they wanted their kids to play golf and get involved with them. Almost like back in the day when dads wanted their sons and daughters to go out and play catch with them for baseball, because it was America's pastime. That's what Tiger Woods, I would argue, single-handedly did for the game of golf. And surely he is he's doing it for the right reasons now, because he's got, lost his dad years ago, but has his son Charlie, and he wants to lead the way for Charlie. And I think kind of like LeBron wants to stick around in the NBA until Bronny comes through and play 1 year with Bronny and then kind of, hang up the sneakers. I wouldn't be surprised if Tiger does the same thing. If Tiger can get a round of golf with Charlie, if Charlie, I got to believe he's going to be good enough. I mean, my goodness. Yeah, he's got probably the best teacher that any, best caddy that any of us could have. I think it'd be cool to see Charlie and Tiger play a round of golf together. And if Tiger is still able to, what a story that would be, is to watch them on the leaderboard together, battling out down the 18th at Augusta. Just cool stuff. Being a dad, that's stuff that chokes you up. It's stuff that you only could hope for and dream of, and you couldn't write a better Disney story for that. So that's what happened in 1946. I don't know how the hell I got on Tiger Woods, but we're there. I hope Tiger wins, and I'm rooting for two guys. I'm rooting for Tiger and Jason Kokrak. Tiger, last check, it was about noon. I think he was in fifth, but he was only 2 strokes behind. So I don't know where he's at right now. We'll have an update tomorrow when more people are paying attention on a Friday, when they can slack off a little bit more at work. But it's nice that that's our job here at YSN. We just pay attention to scoreboards and things of that nature. So a lot to talk about today. One of the things we're going to talk about, obviously, because we had no game yesterday because of some early games got moved up from 5 to 4. I didn't even have enough time to really tell people publicly or put out a graphic that we weren't having a game. That just letting you know, there's going to be more than one occasion coming up that's going to happen. Games are our first priority here at YSN, because obviously we're focused towards the student athlete, the programs, the coaches, and of course the districts. So there's going to be days where, because of where I fall on the time slot and the time chart from 3 to 4, that I'm not going to be able to do the show. So as many times as I can, like right now, we're pre-recording this. Surprise. I'm not really here, but I am, if that makes sense. This is not an illusion. But we have to put the student athletes first, the games first, number one, first and foremost. Again, we're just a bunch of talking heads trying to keep you abreast of situations in local area sports, and certainly want to give you opinions and give you a chance to be a sounding board for you. But when all else is said and done, all the dust settles, we have to be at games, and we want to be at games. So just letting you know kind of, the pecking order of things around here. So if this game, if our shows aren't necessarily live all the time, you'll know why, because either Anthony or Ty or myself or Matt or Alec are out doing a baseball, softball game, track meet, tennis match, whatever. We're out there and we're working it for you. So just letting you know the little magic of television and of streaming, that we can do these pre-recorded shows. But we are going to talk about Boardman's Revenge first and foremost. I also want to talk about, after the break, signing days and why most people will sit there and whine and complain about them, especially when it's not in of relevance to Division I. But I'm going to argue the other side. I'm going to argue why they're so important and why they're imperative, and why kids families, parents, schools, programs deserve each and every one of them, and a way that we can make them better, make them more significant, and I think more powerful moving forward. We're going to talk about that in the second half of the show. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about really. Let's start there because it rolls into Boardman. Actually, we'll start with Boardman and it rolls into this. So let's start there. Because we didn't have a show yesterday, I didn't get to fill you in on my public / I don't want to call it an apology because I'm not sorry. I don't know. I don't know what the word is. It's escaping me right now. So Canfield, the power rankings come out on Monday night. Tuesday, Boardman plays Canfield at Boardman. Boardman gets a walk-off winner. Griffin Widrig, tip of the cap to you. Tip of the cap to Gavin Hyde, to Guy Young. Great Boardman defense. There was a play at the plate, bang, bang play, and Seth Cervello. Boardman has got a star-studded roster. And the difference is between Boardman and Canfield is Boardman feels like they're being slighted, and Canfield is almost proud, and I think, and deservedly so, to wear the bullet or the bullseye on their chest and on their back because everybody's seemingly looking up at them and looking at their back. Boardman took our power rankings on Monday and used it as bulletin board material for what they're trying to accomplish. Boardman didn't do anything wrong. And our power rankings are purely to help programs, to give a little boost to some of these programs that don't necessarily always get seen. And I have to say that our voters simply overlooked Boardman. And I promise, and I told the guys there after the game, probably won't happen again. In fact, I will give you a little story that Canfield's very own Gary Niddle said we overlooked Boardman prior to their game, and said that giving them a little bulletin board material was not doing Canfield any favors. And I'm certainly humbled by the fact that, you know, when we have 10 voters that are putting together these power rankings that know what they're talking about. And I kind of prefaced this the other day. The power rankings, especially week one, are really preseason. It's like, what do you have from last year? What do you have coming in? You know, we're doing a lot of it based on the roster and the schedule, right? And there's not a whole lot of meat on the bone in the first part of the year to look at. And I'm not defending the power rankings by any means. I'm not even like, most people don't know that I hate ranking teams. I don't like ranking teams because, especially in this area, it's so hard because you have Division II all the way to Division IV, and we've got to sit there and sprinkle all of them in and try to sort them all out as to where they would rank. And there's no magical recipe that says, okay, this is where they are here, this is where they are here. No, you just kind of put them together. Football is where it's going to be wild. Baseball is kind of like the appetizer for what these rankings are going to be in football season, because think about, you've got divisions 2 through 7 that you're going to have to sort out and say, this team is the best we have in this area. Not necessarily. And some people want to make it, well, this team can beat this team. Well, of course they can beat that team. On 9 days out of 10, they're going to beat that team. To me, that's not what the power rankings are. Some people vote that way. I don't vote that way. I say, what is the best team in our area, and who did they beat to get there? You know, are they beating teams that are winning big games? Are they beating teams that can compete when it comes playoff time? Are they stacking up against those teams? Like, for instance, Warren JFK was in 3 spot, I think, 3 or 4 in this week's power rankings. They lose to Akron Hoban 2 days ago. JFK is the Division IV champion of the state. Akron-Hoban, the Division II champion of the state. And although it was 6-0 at the end of the game, it didn't feel like that. If you watched any of that game, it was 0-0 for a while, then it was 2-0 for even longer, and then all of a sudden errors and things kind of fell through. It wasn't JFK's best game. But I'll say this in public, and I'm not afraid to be transparent. I don't know that you can penalize JFK for going up against any team anywhere at any time. How do you penalize Warren JFK for going up a team 2 divisions and losing to them? I don't think you can. I don't think you can. Others might. Others might say, well, you lost. You gambled and you lost. Yeah. Well, if there's another Division IV team that beats JFK, then you might have a point. But if you're going up divisions, not that you shouldn't slide down 1, maybe 2. I think you're starting to sink or swim there, right? I think you're really starting to be hard pressed to drop them too many slots, if any. But where do you put a Boardman? They're not on the power rankings currently. You've got teams that have lost. I think teams 1 through 4 have all lost games. And Ty Bartell made a great point earlier on Running Point. You can't be a prisoner of the moment and put Boardman all the way at 1 just because they beat Canfield. Or can you? I'm not going to be surprised if I see some of those voters polls coming in on Sunday with Boardman at the top. I'm not going to be surprised. I'm also not going to be surprised if Canfield stays at number 1. I'm not going to be surprised 1 iota. And there's so many reasons why. I think some of the reasons for me break down to Canfield hasn't really been able to move their offense a whole lot. If you think about it, and this is no knock on them. This is just something. I mean, they're getting hits, right? So in the Boardman game, they had 10 hits. But the hits aren't timely. They're not, I don't want to say they're not productive because hits are always productive because it gets you a base runner in 99% of cases, unless you try to go to second and get thrown out at second. And obviously then it's a wash. It means nothing. But what I'm trying to say is every baseball coach would rather have a single with runners at second and third than a single with nobody on. That's a no-brainer. And right now, I feel like the Cardinals are getting on base, but they're not bringing anybody home, or few and far between. They've got a couple games where they've got 5, but those are also the same games that they've got no hitters. So you could have had 1 in those games, and you're still winning. You could have had 1 run, and you're winning that ball game. That's baseball. That's life, right? Sometimes you hit a ball that's 101 mile an hour off the bat, but it's right at the second baseman. And sometimes you hit a duck fart into center field, and you scored 2 runs. That's the name of the game. Canfield, I promise you, is going to be more productive when the weather heats up. And I'm not saying that just because, I've already got the moniker that I'm the Canfield guy. And that's fine. I don't care. Fine. Throw it on me. I don't care. I followed him out to Toledo. I'll follow him all over. But better make sure I'm the South Range guy next week, and the Boardman guy when you play Hoban, and the East Palestine guy when everybody else gets rained out, and the Mohawk guy whenever we're going. That's just who I am. I'm not taking offense to it, but let's call it what it is. But end of the day, I'm going wherever there's games being played. So that's my thing. Is some people are really digging in to these power rankings, and I love it. Trust me, I'm absolutely humbled and I appreciate the amount of respect that you give to us to put these together. But I'll be the first to second some things that have already been said. We're just 10 dudes putting this together. We're just 10 guys. Here's what we think. Like, we're not the AP. We're not ESPN. We're not anybody like that. We're just trying to do the best we can to give these kids something to smile about. We're not trying to give bulletin board material. We're trying to, I mean, imagine if you're Garfield or your Champion or your Springfield or any of those teams, are 5 down, and you go, man, somebody's finally given us some love. Somebody's finally given us a little bit of love that we're one of the top 10 schools or top 10 programs. And listen, if you're not one of the top 10 programs, and I've said this before, give me a reason. Give me some reasoning. Give me a Boardman situation where you beat a Canfield, you beat the top team in our power rankings, and then you just kind of, no pun intended, you could fly the bird to us, right? And you can say, this is why. Plant the flag. This is who we are. This is why we deserve to be on that power rankings. I'm all for it. Let's go. That's exciting stuff. That's awesome stuff for you, for us. We want to have these great discussions about who and what programs deserve to be in the top 10. We don't want to be pinned on or snapped or whatever your people do nowadays, with this, and they go, well, why aren't we there? Screw YSN. I mean, you could say that. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, our job is to just talk about sports. It's our opinion. I've got parents that are fired up. I got nasty emails and messages and I'm always going to get that because I'm, El Presidente or whatever you want to call me or whatever. At the end of the day, I'm just one of the guys. I'm just one of the people here that work. And, one parent, it was unbelievable. It was, 4 paragraphs long of why what we're doing is traumatizing. And, and I responded and I said, with all due respect, and I will be using this on my show. We're trying to help out programs. I really do believe that these power rankings can help programs. I don't know in what case and what scenario. Obviously, if it's in Boardman's case, it's a piece of motivation. Do I think that by us putting Boardman out of the top 10 unintentionally fired them up enough to beat Canfield? I do not. I think it was Boardman's night. But if they're going to use it, then use it. I mean, some people are going to be mad that they're number 2. Ursuline, some people, I didn't receive anything from Ursuline, but I'm sure somebody from Ursuline said, why aren't we number 1? Good. You're a competitor. You want to think like that. I just hope I never get he's got us ranked at number, I'm just picking a number out of the sky. He's got us ranked at number 6. There's no way we're the 6th best team. That's the last thing you want to hear. You don't want to hear that. There's just so many opportunities for these kids to take advantage of what we have at YSN. Power rankings. Again, I'm not a guy that likes ranking teams necessarily. And in fact, I've been the guy that yells at people that try to rank teams in days prior to the power rankings. But at the end of the day, this was something that somebody wanted. I shouldn't say somebody. Many people wanted. They felt it was necessary. Football gets everything. Like everything. Football is king around here, and nobody's arguing that. But why can't we have the same narrative for the rest of the sports? Why can't we have? That's why we're here, right? If it was just about football, we probably wouldn't be here. Football is a big part of our season, but I'm not going to sit here and fib you. We started because of baseball and softball, and because they didn't get nearly enough attention. The guys that started this company are 2 guys that are baseball and softball enthusiasts. And there was a chain, a link missing in the chain, because it felt like it went football season, basketball season, and then football season. There was 6 months that nothing happened here in Mahoning Valley. And I don't know. I seem to think baseball is pretty daggone good around here. I think softball is instrumental in this area's development and vice versa. and we're just here to promote. Is the bottom line, and I hope you understand that. And I hope if you're out there watching, you understand why the power rankings are important. They're not meant to harm. They're not meant for satire. They're not meant for us to say, "Oh, we're going to stick it to this team this week." It's good conversation for us. It's good dialogue for these shows. We want to hear from you. We want to hear, "Oh, well, you guys missed on this team. You know, they're 5-0. They're 7-0. They're 10-0." We want to hear that. We want this. Listen, this thing right here. See this Y part right here, right under the TV screen? That Y stands for your. This is your sports network. We want to hear from you. We are not egomaniacs like you see elsewhere. That's just not who we are. We're the people that you're going to run into in grocery stores. We're the people that you're going to run into at restaurants. We're the guys that you're going to see at sports bars. We're going to sit down and break bread with you. We're going to eat chicken wings with you. We're going to eat the best cheeseburgers around with you. And we want your opinion on these power rankings. The 10 of us get to vote, but sure as hell you can influence us. I mean, I can't tell you how many text messages I got after that Boardman game from voters saying, I think we made a mistake. I think Boardman deserves to be in there. To paraphrase the 1990s, a no doy. We're going to take a break. We come back. Still lots to talk about. Opening day here in 2022. It's finally here. We're playing meaningful baseball in professional ranks. We're also going to talk about signing day. We'll talk signing day first and why it's so important. What can we do to improve signing day, not just around the state, but from a nationwide standpoint? From like, they're all over the place. It's a messy, messy situation right now. It's a messy situation. There's a lot of people that are dogging signing days for, you know, you shouldn't sign for this. You should. I'm going to advocate for something moving forward. And I'm going to tell you a little story, and I'm not going to put names to it because I promised I wouldn't. But I'm going to tell you a story that might bring a tear to your eye the same way it did to mine this morning. All that and more when we come back on the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by these great sponsors.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times. But because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense, to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
It means the world to me to know that what we're doing is impacting people. And whether it's simply I got to watch my son or daughter when I was out of town, or we just love watching YSN. We love what you do for our son or daughter. So whenever someone says thank you or someone is appreciative of what we're doing, it tells me everyone at YSN is doing what we initially set out to do, which is shine a light on these athletes and help them kind of promote themselves. My name is Anthony Hartwig, and my sports network is your sports network.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Power Hour for this Thursday, April 7th, 2022. It was signing day born in JFK. Signing day is something, to me, it's very special. It is very polarizing, though. I will say this. So, in my day, way back when, very few and far between. Like, I remember wanting one in the worst way. Like, I wanted a signing day so bad, because it meant almost like you arrived, right? Your hard work, dedication, the payoff, in front of your closest friends and family and the people that you shared a life with for the last 12 years or so. That was your stamp, right? That was your mark that you left at your school, is I'm signing from this school to this institution to continue my academics and my athletics, yada, 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 ... It was few and far between, because really the only recognized athletes at that moment in time were Division I athletes. I remember from our school, it was Aaron Walker. And when I was a freshman when AW signed with Georgia Tech, and I remember seeing it in the Morning Journal the next day, and it was a big thing. It was a big to-do. And that, from that moment, as a freshman catcher, that was, I was catching Aaron Walker in multiple instances. That's all I wanted. I wanted that moment. I wanted, you crave it as a competitor, as someone who, I want that moment in time to showcase my talents. It marks the time, right? It marks that you've arrived, that you've made it, that you're that guy, that girl, whatever. At least in my mind. I could be way off. Some kids probably hate it and are driven by their parents. I was one that wanted it. Didn't get it. Played Division III. I was told you don't get signing day for Division III. They don't care if you sign it or not at that time. They could care less. They could care less if you showed up at that moment for Division III. The times have changed. The times have certainly changed in the NCAA. And I love it. I love it. I love signing days. I love the pomp and circumstance. For someone who doesn't necessarily enjoy graduations or weddings or anything like that, my wife is over the just crazy surprised that I like these signing days. And I think it's because it's more about, even though we preach academics, it's more about athletics. Let's be honest. If you took the academics away from some of these institutions, these kids would probably just go play sports. If they were going to play sports at the next level, if they could. Most times, college is a gateway for parents, or sports, I should say, sports are a gateway for parents to get their kids to go to college, to get an education, to receive financial aid, to get that education. And that's okay. Listen, Sue Yoakley's out there somewhere just grinning ear to ear, because that was the only way she got her son, her baby boy, to go to college, to start at Ohio Northern and then transfer to Westminster. She got it because I loved baseball. I loved being part of the team. I loved being able to be competitive at that moment. I loved broadcasting, which I fell in love with through sports. It's okay to utilize sports as a gateway to better things and better opportunities. Because, to be honest, most people do that. Most of the great business leaders you know in your neighborhood were athletes at one point or another. A lot of the best business people you know were athletes. Not always great athletes, but competitive athletes. Because, as Mark Cuban says, business is the biggest supreme sport of all of them. So let's get back to signing days. Today I'm at JFK signing day. Gavin Schrum, Will Toth from Warren JFK. Gavin going to Malone. Will going to Allegheny to play football. Gavin going, of course, standout baseball player going to Malone. It's not the first time that I've heard this, but you hear the whispers. Not at JFK, but you hear the whispers. Yeah. Why does it matter? It's Division III. Who cares? What? It's Division II. Who cares? It's a JUCO. Who cares? I care. I care on several fronts. I care because that moment in that young man or young woman's life can impact the rest of them forever. Forever. It's the same way that, well, why do we celebrate when a kid in Taekwondo goes from a white belt to a yellow belt? Why do we celebrate that? Why do we celebrate a brown belt to a black belt? What's the big deal? Like, you already have the knowledge. You're just changing gear. You're just acquiring a new piece of apparel. Why does that matter? Well, it matters on a multitude of fronts. The same way that it matters when a 4-star general becomes a 5-star general in the military. It matters the same way that an assistant principal becomes a principal, and a principal maybe become a superintendent. It matters because when you're a junior salesman, you become a senior executive. It matters when we progress. It doesn't matter to me in which the brand that you progress in. I could care less. If you are getting a raise, if you are getting a promotion, if you are working your ass off in order to be acknowledged, you deserve that moment to be acknowledged. You deserve to be put on a pedestal for 25 minutes, to sign your name, to make you feel important because you are important, because you are and have worked so incredibly hard for those moments, all those little moments that don't seemingly make the paper or don't seemingly make the stream, or those nights that you're out there working on your craft and the lights are off and no one's watching, all lead up to that moment, that signing day, that day where your best friends are surrounding you along with your family and everybody and your teachers, your peers who have been supporting you for so very long. And they're all smiling ear to ear, watching you sign a piece of paper, committing and promoting yourself from one stage to the next. You deserve that. And you deserve to be happy. And you don't deserve to hear it from everybody else that you're signing Division III or signing Division II and not Division I. I'm going to tell you this over and over again. While Division I is fantastic, it is not necessarily the most successful path to where you want to go. I'm not knocking Division I by any means, but the fact that Division I has somehow become branded as the be-all and end-all of if you are an athlete or an athlete worthwhile is absolutely, I'm sorry, off the table. I've seen better athletes in Division III than Division I. Believe it or not, people actually go to Division III schools because they know that there's a 1% chance or less opportunity that they're going to go professional. And they actually go to a school based on the curriculum, based on the program. One thing I learned 5 years ago when I started YSN is that everything we see at the professional level is now dropping to the college level. Everything that we see at the college level, believe it or not, has made it to the high school level. We're seeing NIL stuff. Started professionally, now it's down to college. And guess what? Now it's down to high school. Within a year, it's filtered its way down to high school, or at least to vote on. So when you see this, you're starting to see schools really known for things. The same way that colleges, okay, this college is known for nursing. This college is known for its business. This college is known for its mathematics. This college is known for, its biochemistry. This college is known for its broadcasting. This college is known for its writing. Now we see that in high schools. We're seeing specialization in high schools being known for being of the arts. High schools being known for, if you want your kid to be successful and be ahead when they go to college, go here because this is where they go if they're going to study technology. Don't get ready. Like, you have to be ready because it's here. I hope I'm not giving you any breaking news in this situation. It is here, and it's here to stay. And it's only, if you want to see what's next, all you have to do as a high school person, as a high school enthusiast, look up the ladder. Look up. Because anything you see in the professional ranks will be down to college ranks in a year or two. And anything you see in the college ranks will be filtered down to high school in a year or two. Maybe not at scale, but that's the way it's going to be. So we shouldn't be surprised now that everybody signs at every level. And I'm excited about that. But here's where we can do it better. Here's where I would argue that not only can we do it better, but we can do it more efficiently. And as someone who runs a business, you're always asking yourself, how can I run this more efficiently? So instead of 97 college signing days throughout the year, each school agrees on one college signing day per season. Fall, winter, spring. One day. And if you're, heaven forbid, you're sick that day or whatever, you do a virtual or you do a, I guess maybe a makeup would make sense too, but then you're getting into 2 days, and then then you're talking about the same ones. What we're seeing is kids and families taking their time. And here's what I don't like about the signing day. I don't like when there are one-offs. I don't like when it's just one kid or one student athlete that's signing. And it's not their fault and it's not their family's fault. It's just sometimes the way things go. But I think athletic directors, I think even the OHSAA can probably get involved in this in some capacity. But as media members, and I'm not trying to make this easier for us, I'm trying to make it more, okay, this makes sense. So, November 1st for fall. Then you're looking at January 15th or January 30th or February 1st for winter. And then you can have, April 7th for spring. But what it does is it gives an opportunity for those kids to stand together. Those kids from that class, they are the representatives of their school. And I like that. I like that a lot. Having 3 signing days a year, and kids can pick from them. Some kids make up their mind where they're going to go their sophomore year. They commit verbally, and then, signing day, they have to wait till their senior year. Those kids can sign in the fall. And now you've got 2 more signing days that you can take part of, So really, there's your answer. You don't really need 2 signing days per in case of a makeup. You just have, that kid can't make the fall, they make the winter. If they can't make the winter, they make the spring. And if you miss all 3 of them, well, as the saying goes, you're SOL. I think that that's the way you make this better, because you want it to be more efficient. Because when you look around a room and you only see one media outlet there, it's frustrating. Even for us, it's frustrating. Because people know I'm a competitive person, but I want to see the other media outlets at that same signing. As much as I want the exclusive in the back of my mind, trust me, I do. But I'm less about the exclusive for me and more about the attention for that student athlete. That doesn't, I do my job by interviewing them after one-on-one. I want there to be representation from the local media, because that kid, as I just talked about, worked day in, day out, night in, night out for that opportunity. And I got to be honest, sometimes it's worth a little bit more than a picture. Sometimes that's all we get. And sometimes that's all parents and that's all kids want. I wish I had the opportunity to interview every single person. And trust me, I'm trying. But if we had a little bit more of, okay, there's only 3 signing days a year, and you get 15 per, right? Or a bigger school like Fitch or like Canfield, Boardman, you can run through 70 of these kids. That's fun. That's great. That's phenomenal. That's what you want to see, because at the end of the day, if you got 70 kids that are going from one level to the next, you've got 70 kids that are going to be enrolled in college and are looking to better themselves. But here's where it gets better. I don't just want the kids that are going to the next level in playing sports. We had a young man earlier this year, baseball player, football player. Don't know if he played basketball or not. I apologize. He's going from being an athlete in high school to the workforce. I want to see that signing too. I want that signing almost as bad as I want the signing from a kid going from high school to college. Kids being successful, student athletes being successful, there is a broad brush of what success looks like. And I got to be honest, the most successful people aren't always the ones that go to college. They're not. We talked about Division I. Division I, sometimes student athletes fall into a trap where they think that it's going to be as easy as it was in high school. Talent only takes you so far. Your work ethic takes you the rest of the way. We talked about this. There's going to be a boatload of people with the same talent that you have, if not more, the second you walk through that door, no matter the level, Division I, II, or III. But I want to celebrate the young men and women who go from high school to the workforce directly. No student loans. They're looking to provide for their family, to provide for themselves, to create a future from the age of 18. There's days I look back and I say, wow, man, it'd be nice to not have student loans. It'd be nice to be able to have a trade for a career. And that just wasn't my path. But that's the path of so many nowadays, because the trades now are competing more than ever with secondary education. But here's the one. Here's the one that I'm going to try to get through this without getting emotional. One of the closest, one of the guys, kind of double story here. One of the people that is closest to me when we started this YSN actually gave me our first ever helmet here. And it made me feel like we made it, right? We were following their team. And he gave me a helmet outside the game, and we've had a relationship ever since. And he's been a great, dear friend of mine, and I love his family with everything I have. And his son, who is a premier student athlete, has chosen the military, the Army. And I busted his chops a little bit, and I said, well, why aren't we doing a signing day for you? I don't care that you're not playing in any sports at the next level. I want you to have that moment. Mr. Yoakley, that's not me. So in talking to his dad, his dad said, because his dad had the same thing. Because when we're parents, we look down and we want our kid to have that moment, right? We want them to have all the moments that we see for all the other kids, and because that's kind of for us too. So this young man told his father, Dad, I'll have a signing day when the guys that I lead and lead me in my platoon, when they get one. You want to talk about maturity. You want to talk about leadership. You want to talk about everything that sports is supposed to teach you, and our coaches are supposed to teach you, and as parents, we're supposed to teach. To me, that's worth more than any signing day in the world. Signing day is supposed to signify that we made it. Whether you're the student athlete, the parent, coach, administrator, program. Give me 100 of those kids that don't care about themselves, but care about people that they haven't even met yet. This young man doesn't report until the end of June. And he's already thinking about the people that he's going to be in the foxhole with. We live in a crazy world right now, right? A lot of ego in it and a lot of me, not you. It's refreshing. It's exciting. And it's empowering to know that that young man, I thought the world of him before, that young man is going to be defending our freedoms. Most of you will be able to figure out on this show who it is, but he's fighting for people who he doesn't even know the names of, whether it's you or otherwise. Those are the people, ladies and gentlemen, those are the people who we want to celebrate. And if he ever gives me the okay, the green light, I will celebrate him in every way possible. Because when it comes down to it, there's still people that sign up to defend our freedoms. There's people that signed up to defend our honor. There's people that sign up to defend our school. And not just represent them on the field of play, but some of them represent us in the field of battle. And the only colors that matter there are the red, the white, and the blue. Those are the only colors that matter. I'm so grateful for signing day. But I wish we just had a few more. Wish we had a few more. That's going to do it for the regular portion of the program. You know what comes next each and every day. It is the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark? The Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over at DickeyElectric.com, and of course the campus of Joe Dickey Electric in North Lima. Today, a lot to talk about, a lot that we have talked about, but it is opening day. It's exciting. It's Masters. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world of sports. The weather was pretty beautiful, and now it looks pretty bad. But it's opening day nonetheless. And everybody, I always wear my YSN gear when we go out, except for on Sundays during football season and on opening day in baseball season. I've got literally 100 jerseys at home of many different teams. But the one team that beats closest to my heart will always be the Pittsburgh Pirates. And if there was like a second ring, like a second level, it would be the Cleveland Guardians. I love baseball in so many different ways and for so many different reasons. And opening day, I always will say, should be a national holiday. I still believe it's America's favorite pastime. I still believe it's America's pastime in general. Maybe not the favorite anymore. But my beloved Pirates, by God, what do we like? What do we do? What do we do? Like, we're still like 4 years, 5 years away from posting a team that is worth its weight. Can we go and shock the world this year? Absolutely. Will it happen? Probably not. I think they're already 20 games behind in the wild card race. So that's how we start a season. And I don't have high hopes, but I will have some hope. I will have some hope that they win 63 games, they don't lose 100, and that Scotty Mincher will owe me $100 or 100 Skittles, whichever you prefer. I wish I had high hopes for this team. I don't. Day one, man. Day one, and they're trotting out a lineup with our slowest guy, our designated hitter, Vogelback, leading off. He's 250 pounds. He's leading off. What are we going to do if he gets on base? Like, what are you going to pinch run for him right off the jump? I don't know. I know he doesn't have a good 60 time. He's not going to win too many foot races in the major leagues. What are we doing, Derek Shelton? What are we doing here already? I've already complained to Sigler about this because he's the only one that's miserable enough to hear me out on this, and he said it's embarrassing. What are the Pirates doing? Are we trying for 0-162? Are we trying to break records that way? Vogelback is leading off. One of my good friends from college is Jason Mackey of the Post-Gazette. I'm going to text him and ask him, WTH. No WTF. WTH. There's respect there. What is going on? What are we doing here? This is not slow pitch softball. You can't have your singles guy up first. Like, what are we doing? Secondly, Cleveland Guardians signing Jose Ramirez for 5 years, giving him basically a lifelong deal. No trade, or it's a no trade contract, no trade clause is included in it for Ramirez. So the Guardians can't just sign him and get rid of him as fast as they can. Good for the Guardians. Everybody complained about the Guardians not spending money. The Guardians have been Indians. Cleveland's ball club has been spending money for years, and I don't know what people are talking about when they say they haven't. I mean, they've spent money. They're a small market team. They can't spend Mets money. They can't spend Yankees money. They can't you can't compete with that. But good on Jose Ramirez as much as the Guardians. But as I said the other day, I keep hearing, Jose gave a discount. I think Jose realized that he's not worth $200 million. He's not worth $250 million. He's worth what he got. He's worth what he wrote his name at the bottom of the paper. His signing day was $125 million. Stop me if you would not sign up for that. I would. 125 mil over 5 years, I'm in. I'm in right now. Hell, I'll help you pack the place. Good for the Guardians. Bad for the Pirates. What are we doing? Great year ahead. Baseball's back. The world is looking up. Now, if we can get rid of that snow, download the Storm Tracker 21 app, and we'll see if we can do that. That's going to do it for our show today. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. We're going to try and get some special guests on for tomorrow. I know Brian Tolnar. I want to talk about golf. I want to talk about the Masters. kind of get his take on it. I'm sure he'll stop by if I ask him really nicely. But that's going to do it for our show today. Make sure you get out to a ball game if they're still going on. Head over to ysnlive.com/live for a full list of the games coming to you tonight for free via these great sponsors. Thanks again for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow from 3 to 4 right here on YSN. Peace. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports